Hello. I'm hoping that everything is working and we're currently going live on YouTube. If we are, welcome to our first live stream from Citizen Advice Telford and the Wrekin. If you are rewatching this, we'll have this recording available. Obviously, there's a few things we'll do in the live stream where we'll answer questions live and respond to comments that we won't be able to do if you're rewatching this as a recording. But we will put the details in the description. So if you have any questions, you can either join us on one of our later live streams, or you can contact us directly and make an appointment with our energy advisor. So just to start off, my name's Tom. I am the support coordinator for Citizen Advice Telford and the Wrekin. I'm going to do a bit of an intro for you now and talk about a couple of things, and then my colleague Ella is going to join us, and she's our energy advisor. She's pre-prepared some of the sort of most common questions that she gets about checking your energy supply, checking your tariff and things like that she will run through. But if you have any questions yourself, if you're watching us through YouTube, then if you go into the comments section, you can add comments. We'll see those, and Ella will try and answer those as we go along. Now, if you ask something that's a bit more in depth and we feel we're probably not going to be able to cover it in the live stream, or it's something where actually you need to speak to someone confidentially and go into more detail with an advisor, then I will pop up the details for contacting us again to book an appointment with Ella. Those are free, and you'll be able to talk to her confidentially about any questions about your energy that you have. So as you'll see down at the bottom of the screen, we're doing this as part of the Big Energy Saving Winter campaign. So that's broken down into 3 sections. So this month is about checking your energy supply, your tariffs, things like that. Next month is about switching, and then January is about saving. So we will be doing another live stream next month, and then another one in January to cover those topics as well. I'd also like to mention, just before Ella joins us and we get started, this Friday is Fuel Poverty Awareness Day. That's organised by the National Energy Action. They're the National Fuel Poverty Charity. Again, down at the bottom here, you can see their website scrolling along. So if you'd like to find out a bit more information about that, click on there and go to their website. Or on Twitter, Facebook, you can follow along with hashtag Fuel Poverty Awareness Day on Friday, and there'll be various things that will be popping up on there. So I'm going to get Ella to join us now. She'll introduce herself, and then we'll get started. Again, any comments, please put them down in the comments section below. Hi, Ella. Thank you for joining us. I'll let you start off and introduce yourself, and then as you need me to, I'll pop things up to appear on the screen and down below.
Hi, my name is Ella Warburton. I have been working at Citizens Advice in Telford for over 12 years, and for the last about 5-6 years I've been also advising about energy as part of my sort of advice work. So I've had all sorts of inquiries throughout the years. Some of them very interesting, but a lot of issues. And today we'll just start with sort of general questions that people ask about their energy. So the first question is, what is the quickest way to save money on energy bill? It's quite a complex question actually, because it depends on your situation. Switching can still save £200 to £300 a year, depending on your usage, if you never switched before. And it takes about 30 minutes to do so. On the other hand, claiming warm home discount, which is worth £140, if you're eligible, you should do that because it would take about 5 minutes to apply. So it's probably the quickest way to save money on your energy bills is to apply for warm home discount. So the second question is, what is warm home discount? Some of you might be aware of it. There's a lot of publicity about it, but probably not enough. So it is a payment from your electricity supplier. It's worth £140. And there are basically two groups that can apply for warm home discount. Not all the suppliers offer it. Only the suppliers who have 250,000 customers or more are obliged by the Ofgem to offer this discount, but some suppliers who are smaller still would offer it. There are mainly two groups that qualify. One group is called a core group, and people who qualify for warm home discount under that group don't have to apply. They just have to satisfy the criteria where they should be during a date in July, 25th, 26th of July. They have to be on pension credit guarantee, and they have to have supply from a company that offers warm home discount as well. And the bills have to be in their name or their partner or spouse's name. The other group, and that leads me to the question number 3, is do I have to apply for warm home discount? You do if you are eligible under what they call a broader group. Broader group could be quite wide. It's people who who tend to be on lower income, either on means tested benefits or having household income under a certain amount, which is £16,190 a year. And usually there's further criteria that they have to satisfy. It could be things like having a young child under 5 in the household, or having a disability either for a customer or their child. It could be being over pension age or over 65. It could be just having low income and spending 10% or more of the income on heating bills, or it could be just having disability, or it could be having children in education. The criteria differs between different suppliers, so it's worth looking and checking whether you qualify. It's important to know that the list of different suppliers is available online on the .gov.uk address, which is just below. And if you go to the list and you have a look at the suppliers, follow the links, it will take you to the page with the eligibility criteria for broader group. The core group is more straightforward. Also, people.
Sorry, Ella, just to add to that, as you say, the link is down below, but what I will do is add it into the description for this video afterwards. So if you're watching it live and you haven't got time to take down that link, come back in a few hours. I'll have added that link in the description and you'll be able to just click it directly. And then if you're watching this as a recording afterwards, the link should already be down below for you.
Fantastic. There's been a development in the last several years where customers who live in park homes can also apply for warm home discount. They would have to apply if they receive pension credit guarantee or if they fall into one of the other groups. Generally, park home customers pay their bills, their energy bills, not to their energy supplier, but to the site manager. So in the past, they were not able to apply for warm home discount. Now they are, which is a good thing because often the bills are fairly high. The next question is, does having prepayment meters mean that I'm on the most expensive energy tariff? No, not anymore. It used to be that prepayment meters normally indicated that people were paying quite a lot more for their gas and electricity than people who have credit meters. However, since 2017, there's been a prepayment meter tariff cap in place, which was set up by Ofgem. And basically what it means that the fixed price for certain usage is basically fixed. What this means is the difference between different suppliers with prepayment meters is not as pronounced as with people on credit meters. For example, I did a tariff comparison check using the average figures for consumption for gas and electricity, and the costs between different suppliers with prepayment meters varied between £970 and £1,055 a year. So about £85 variation difference between the two, between the most expensive and the cheapest tariff. Whereas with credit meters, the difference between the cheapest and the most expensive tariff was £552. So it was between £808 and £1,360 per year. So what this means is if you're on prepayment meter, it's definitely worth to check whether you qualify for the warm home discount, because that potentially could save you more money than switching supplier. Or alternatively, you could also look into changing your meter from prepayment to the credit meter. And the next question number 5, is do I have to pay to have a credit meter installed and a prepayment meter removed? It varies. It varies depending on your supplier, but the important thing is that all 6 large suppliers, including British Gas, Scottish Power, E.ON, SSE, EDF, and did I mention Scottish Power? Offer it for free. However, whereas other suppliers, smaller suppliers, could actually charge to have your meter replaced. However, they all, apart from EDF, ask you to go through the credit check. So if you fail the credit check, they wouldn't be able to replace your prepayment meter with a credit meter. Also, people who have prepayment meters, which are smart meters, potentially suppliers could switch prepayment meter to a credit meter remotely, so you wouldn't have to basically have somebody to physically come and change your meter, remove one and replace it with another one. They could literally press the button on their computer and change it, but you would still need to pass a credit check to qualify for one. Now, we have question number 6, which is, what is a winter fuel payment and do I have to apply for it? Winter fuel payment is a payment that you would be eligible if you reach pension age, the state retirement age, which is at the moment 65 years. Which means that if you were born on or before 5th of October 1954, you could get between £100 and £300 to help you pay your heating bills or use it for anything else really, because it's a direct payment into your account. It's known as a winter fuel payment. You will receive it automatically if you are eligible and you receive a state pension or another social security benefit, but not benefits such as housing benefit, council tax reduction, child benefit, universal credit. If you are eligible but you don't receive it automatically, for example, it happens if you decided to defer your state pension, you would need to apply to make a claim, and you have to do it through the government website, which is, the address is below, and it should be pretty straightforward. You need to be aware that there is a deadline for claiming payments for this winter, and it's 31st of March 2021. What is the eligibility? So it's pension age, reaching the state pension age, and you also have to be living in the UK for at least one day during the week of 21st to 27th of September 2020. It's called the qualifying week. If you live in certain countries, you could still receive the payment if it's in the European Economic Area and not one of the countries which quite warm climate, like Cyprus, for example. Or sometimes if you have a genuine and sufficient link to the UK, you could still claim it. and the amount is between £100 and £300. The amount depends on your age. Older people have a higher payment. Whether there's another member in your household who qualifies for the payment. If nobody claims it, then you get a higher amount. And also, if you receive certain benefits, you could get a higher amount, which is £200 per person. But it's never more than £300. You should receive a letter from the government to tell you how much it's going to be and when they're going to pay it. It should be pretty soon now, really. Question number 7. Who is the cold weather payment paid to and when? And it's completely different payment from winter fuel payment and or from warm home discount. Cold weather payment actually depends on the weather, and it also depends on whether you're receiving any sort of certain benefits or support for mortgage interest. The payment is worth £25 for each 7 days of very cold weather between 1st of November and 31st of March. The average temperature has to be recorded as 0 degrees Celsius or below, or it's enough if it's forecast to be below 0 or 0 degrees over the 7-day period. So it doesn't happen a lot, it doesn't happen every year, but sometimes it does. When we have a cold winter, it does happen. In order to be eligible, you should be receiving pension credit or income support or income-related JSA, ESA, universal credit if you're not working, or support for mortgage interest. There's also additional criteria to qualify, and that's quite linked to the broader group criteria for warm home discount. So it's things like having a child under 5, having a disabled child in your household, or having a disability premium, or having a pensioner premium. So it's quite similar in that respect with criteria for warm home discount under the broader group. How do you claim it? You don't need to claim it. It should be paid to you automatically. And it would be, as I mentioned, it runs from 1st of November till 31st of March. And if the weather freakishly becomes very cold after March, in April, unfortunately, the scheme doesn't run then. So it's worth notifying Job Centre Plus if your circumstances change. For example, if you have a baby, because you would become eligible for it. They need to know. Or if the child under 5 has come to live with you, or if you start receiving one of those premiums, such as disability or pensioner premiums. And if you don't receive it, but you think you should receive it, you need to contact Job Centre Plus to raise it with them. Next question is, do I have to accept a smart meter? Smart meters have been in the news quite a lot in the last several years, and there's been countrywide rollout of smart meters. So we've all been asked by our suppliers quite insistently often to accept a smart meter. But do we have to accept it? The answer is no. We don't have to accept smart meters. We can refuse it. However, often suppliers offer cheaper tariffs for people with smart meters. So there will be a condition on this tariff, which is to accept smart meter. If it's not practical to have a smart meter installed, then you could still qualify for the tariff, but you wouldn't have to accept it. But as a condition, you have to get this new cheaper tariff, you have to sort of consider accepting it. Otherwise, you can refuse, and the company shouldn't be insisting on you having smart meter installed. But the question is, what happens once the companies no longer have dumb meters and all the meters that they have are actually smart meters? What do you do then if you don't really want to have a smart meter installed? I'm afraid you'd still have to accept it, but you could ask your supplier to turn off the functionality of smart meter on the smart meter, so it still works as an old type, what they call a dumb meter. Question number 9. How often does a smart meter send meter readings to the supplier? It's a question that is asked because not everybody wants to provide this information to the supplier. People feel that sometimes the suppliers don't have the right to know this information. Generally, there are 3 options to provide frequency of meter readings. So the default one is daily. So if you never asked and the smart meter is installed, your supplier probably receives the information about your meter readings every day. However, you could contact your supplier and ask them to take this meter reading every month, once a month, which is quite similar to the frequency that you would be expected to provide your meter readings to your supplier anyway. And the supplier wouldn't know what your usage is between those months' time, between those readings. You could also ask your supplier to take your meter readings every hour. This could be useful if your tariff is a specialized tariff. For example, if you have an electric car and you benefit from charging it overnight. There are now tariffs with smart meters that allow people to benefit from lower rates during the night time when the usage of electricity tends to be lower. So it's a flexible thing that you could actually control, in a sense that you could tell your supplier how often you would like them to read your smart meter. The next question.
Sorry, Ella, just before we move on to the next question, I'm just going to pop up on the screen. We've had a question in the chat, which is from David. So thank you, David. His question is, what about companies trying to put old style type 1 meters rather than type 2, which allow you to change suppliers?
So what you referring to is the not smart meters, but still old style meters. Yes, the companies still do that because then while the government and Ofgem do encourage them to spread the installation of smart meters, some companies still try to put old style meters. I think I've heard that often it actually refers to prepayment meters. And old style prepayment meters are not as good to use, not as comfortable to use as smart meters, because you literally have to go to a shop to top up your meter if you have an old style prepayment meter, whereas with a smart meter you could do it often using a smartphone and topping up through a credit card or your mobile phone, so it's a lot quicker and simpler. If they insist, I'd probably ask them why they insist that it should be an old style prepayment meter or credit meter. And it might be worth considering switching to a supplier who would offer smart meters. In my experience, a lot of people that I spoke to actually don't want smart meters, so they would probably appreciate not having a smart meter installed, whereas for other people it tends to be a lot more convenient to have smart meters. I think as more electric cars are purchased by people, as they become more widely spread, more people would want smart meters. So the rollouts for smart meters, actually, you could check when your supplier is due to start smart meter rollout in your area, because it does go by area by area. You could look at the smart meter website, Smart Energy UK, and there is a menu there where you could choose a supplier and it will provide information about when they're going to start rolling out smart meters in different areas. And you could always ring them and also ask them when they're going to do it in your area. Unfortunately, I think the most extreme case that I encountered during providing advice was for somebody who would have a smart meter, prepayment meter, and would decide to switch to a supplier offering a cheaper tariff. The new supplier actually wouldn't support smart meters in prepayment mode yet, so they would actively come and replace the meter with a prepayment meter. So in practice, it excluded a lot of people from switching because they were used to smart meters and the convenience of them, and therefore they wouldn't switch to the supplier who would not continue providing support for smart meters. I hope this answers your questions. So they can do it. You could ask them why, and you might want to consider switching your supply to a different supplier.
Thank you, Ella.
It might be that you actually mean, the question meant that smart meter that the suppliers trying to install is a first generation smart meter, SMETS 1, versus SMETS 2, which is more modern smart meter. Basically what happened is when the rollout just started, there was no standard type of meter, and generally if a supplier would install a smart meter, it will work as a smart meter but only with that supplier. So if you were to switch your supplier to a different supplier, it would not work as a smart meter. And some suppliers, they shouldn't really be installing type SMETS 1 type smart meter, but in practice, if they do that, what will happen in the future is that even SMETS 1 smart meters will be switched, will be updated remotely to work as SMETS 2. So they will be updated, they will be upgraded, but we don't know when it's going to happen. It was due to happen actually this summer 2020, and it didn't happen because the rollout is falling behind, is running behind. Next question, is it question number 10?
Number 10, yes.
What are standing charges and can I avoid paying them? Standing charges are part of the tariff, and pretty much every tariff now has standing charges, as opposed to unit charges. So each tariff consists of standing charge, which is a set-up payment per day, which your supplier would charge you on gas and electricity, regardless of how much energy you actually use. So it could be, the lowest amount I looked up recently was 15p per day, and it could go, could be as high as 40 pence per day, depending on the tariff. A few years ago, there were tariffs with zero standing charges where unit prices were quite high. So people who were not using a lot of energy, gas or electricity, could select one of those tariffs and their bills would be quite low. In practice now, there aren't any tariffs that don't have standing charges, and it probably is more relevant for people with gas supply who don't use their gas. So if you don't use your gas, you'll still have gas bills and you still have to pay something towards the standing charges. It could come as an unpleasant surprise if you have a prepayment meter and you don't use gas, and suddenly you realize you are in arrears on your meter, and it is because of the standing charges accumulating while you were not topping up your meter. The only solution to it is, if you don't want to pay for your gas, is basically having your gas disconnected having your gas capped. So you would need to contact your supplier, and unfortunately often you'd also have to pay for this to be done. So the suppliers are entitled to ask you to pay to have your gas supply disconnected. But generally, in many cases, and if you have gas central heating, it tends to be cheaper overall to use gas central heating than your electric heating, because per unit price, gas tends to be cheaper by about 3 times than electricity. Even though electricity is generally 100% more efficient, it's 100% efficient, meaning that if you turn electric heating, all the energy goes towards the heating, whereas with gas, it actually depends on your boiler, how modern it is and how efficient it is. It tends to be that it is cheaper overall to heat water and to heat space with gas central heating than with electric heaters, and this is why it might not be in your interest to have the gas supply capped. And do we have time for the last question, Tom?
Yeah, I think we can do the last one. We've overrun slightly, but I think everyone's happy watching us.
Okay, so how do I find out how my supplier is rated in terms of customer service? It is quite important for people because the quality of customer service varies quite a bit. And Citizens Advice actually has quarterly reports for customer service rating. So the latest report is available on Citizens Advice website. You could Google something like compare domestic energy suppliers customer service Citizens Advice, and it will take you to the page. The address otherwise is extremely long, and the current ratings are from April to June 2020. So unfortunately, some of the suppliers might not even be trading anymore. But to just let you know that the best 5 suppliers are Soul Energy, Green, Igloo Energy, M&S Energy, and EDF Energy. And EDF is one of the largest. 6. Number 6 is Octopus Energy, which has grown recently quite a lot. Not all the suppliers are listed there. Some of the smaller or newish suppliers are not. But there are 38 different suppliers. The very last supplier in terms of quality was Bristol Energy. And as you may be aware, Bristol Energy has since actually has closed down, so it's no longer available. The supplier went bust, and the supply has been allocated to a different supplier. And the second from the bottom is Utilita, which is quite a large supplier offering prepayment meter tariff. So it might be worth looking on this page just to see how your supplier compares in terms of customer service. I must say that the supplier that I was with is no longer there. It's Tonic Energy, because they went bust as well. So apparently their customer service went quite low before they went bust. So it is a good indication. If your supplier is quite low, has low rating in terms of customer service, there might be some issues with that supplier. Additionally, which also regularly rates energy suppliers, so you could look up the ratings on the Which website as well.
Thank you. As you say, the link is very long to the customer ratings, and in fact, it's so long. I did try and post it in the comments and it split it into 2. So I have posted a shorter version of that link. And again, I'll put that in the description for this. So anyone who's rewatching this, the link should be in the description for you. And if you're watching this live and you want that link, it's either in the comments now, or if you check back in say an hour or so, it'll be in the description for this video as well. While you've been talking, Ella, we've had at the bottom of the screen as well the information for booking an appointment with you. So if anyone who's watching this live or the recording wants to get a bit more detailed advice about your energy, about checking, switching, saving, you can contact us and book a free confidential appointment with Ella. You can do that by either calling us on 01952 567 193. You'll be asked a few questions and say that it's that you want to have an appointment with the energy advisor. Or alternatively, you can email us at case@telfordcab.co.uk. And again, that will get through to Ella, and she can book an appointment with you to talk to you in more depth about your energy and give you a bit more in-depth support there as well.
Yeah. Lastly, I just wanted to mention with the warm home discount that we spoke about earlier, it's really important to know that if you need to apply for it, you would be advised to apply as soon as possible, because the applications are on first come first served basis, which means that if the company reaches the target number of the customers that they are obliged to help, they could close the scheme without any further notice. I think at the moment, all of the suppliers that offer it, the scheme, are open apart from Utilita. Utilita is the unique supply in that respect, that they only have 1 week for people to apply, and it's actually before everybody else opens it. It's sort of at the start of August. And also with Utilita, you could comply with the eligibility criteria with Utilita and apply in time, and you could still be refused the application because if too many people apply, they only sort of use they pick up randomly people who they pay this discount to. So it might be something worth considering if you're thinking about, switching to Utilita.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for anyone who's re-watching this as a recording. Dependent on when you're watching this is going out on the 25th of November 2020. You may find that your energy supplier has closed the applications for their warm home discounts. So do check that out if you're re-watching this. I'm just going to put up another quick thing at the bottom as well for us. So we're, as I say, going to do a couple more of these live streams. The next one is on Wednesday, the 16th of December. Again, 2020, if you're re-watching this, dependent on when you're watching it. It's going to go out at the same time at 12:30 in the afternoon. And Ella will be answering questions again and looking at switching your energy supply rather than the checking side of things. So if you've got any questions about that, do join us. Sorry, just seen a comment pop up about one of the links that I posted doesn't work. Yes, unfortunately, that's because it was a very, very long link, but I will put it in the description, as I say, so you can check back for that. Thank you for those people who have been watching us live and for the couple of you that have commented. Again, if you've missed this as a live stream and you're watching it as a recording, you can still contact us via phone or email. The information's down in the description below. You can book an appointment with Ella to discuss any issues with your energy, as well as looking at checking and switching. And you can join us on Wednesday the 16th for our next live stream, where Ella will again answer some of the frequently asked questions about switching your energy supply, your energy tariff, and then any questions you have on the day, you can put in the comments, and we'll try and answer those live as we're going along. Thank you, Ella. I don't know if you've got anything you want to add before we finish.
I just say if there are any issues with following the link either to winter fuel payment or cold weather payment, you could Google it, and there will be a page on the government website .gov.uk which should work really. If for some reason it doesn't work here, Google or other search engines could also work. So, in case it doesn't work.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, and again, if you're watching this live, check back in an hour or so, and I'll have put those links in the description. And if you're re-watching it as a recording, they should hopefully all be in there by now already. So yeah, I thank you again for everyone that's joined us and has watched this live or is watching it as a recording. And thank you, Ella, for doing this and for answering those questions for us.
Thank you, Tom.
Brilliant. We're going to finish now, but hopefully some of you will join us again on the 16th for our next live stream. Thank you very much.
Bye.